and welcome to Comics with Jose. My name is Jose. I love comics and I want to share them with you. Follow me on Twitter at Art of J Velez, on Instagram at jvelez622. We're going to review some comics that I like, that I love, and some that I don't like or love. I own all the comic books that I am showing. Even though we're going to be looking at them digitally, I actually have copies of every single comic book that we are going to review. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here. We are going to be looking at Fantastic Four, Volume 2, Number 4 by Jim Lee. So, Jim Lee only did 6 issues, so we're more than halfway there. So, this this takes place in like an alternate dimension during the Heroes Reborn saga, where the heroes are in a pocket universe put in by Franklin Richards. Feel free to Google that. I'm not going to go through that here. This is just simply looking mostly at Jim Lee's beautiful art. This is the first appearance of that version's Black Panther. This only lasted 12 issues. Jim Lee lasted half of that. There were 4 books: Iron Man, Fantastic Four, Avengers, and this one. So this Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld were the 2 architects, but Rob Liefeld ended up leaving, and Jim Lee took over kind of the entire thing as sort of the uh, executive editor, and then he hired whoever else to finish it. After 12 issues, everybody returned to the main Marvel universe. So we start off in Wakanda, and there's an exploratory force that's led by Montaba, I think is his name. Um, that's been dispatched to investigate a strange object that fell out of the sky, but unfortunately, the entire team, including Montaba, has been wiped out. So, and here we're looking at this is one of Jim Lee's lesser known projects. So, I don't know if a lot of people even knew that he drew this. So now we are in New York. So Johnny Storm is looking for some action figures, and he sees all these young girls here that all of a sudden um, are all over him. So he flees and then notices the Fantastic Four signal. So he flames on and heads over to the Baxter Building. I like Jim Lee's art. I think Jim Lee can draw anything, and this version of the Fantastic Four is pretty straightforward. Or sorry, of the Human Torch is pretty straightforward to the way he's been drawn many times by many different artists. Alan Davis, who actually takes over after with Volume 3, Number 1, is the one that is responsible for how he sort of has been portrayed in the movies and all that stuff. So he flames on and goes into the Baxter Building, but this person here is um, going to follow him, or going to go to the Baxter Building as well. So right now we don't know who he is. And in Soho, the Thing is being driven around. He's looking for Alicia Masters. Ben thinks he sees her, and he's having trouble getting out of the car. So he, of course, smashes right through. Good, good double page spread, or page and a half spread, you could say. Only it's not Alicia Masters. It's like a Fantastic Four groupie. And so he sees the signal and decides to um, also go, because, the signal comes out when they're needed. And Johnny's arriving too. So Sue tells him, Well, Johnny asked what's up, and she said it was a test that they failed, and then he notices that his suit is red and asks him why. He says because it's a marketing ploy to force people to buy more toys. And Reed calls them to the lab. So they go to meet Reed. So Reed advises them that he has completed a full analysis of their condition since they got their powers, and he points out that even though they got their powers very recently, they've been using them as though they've always had them. So he finds that that's pretty interesting. But Reed doesn't really know why, and then he tells them that the anomaly that they encountered in space has crash landed in Wakanda. And since Prince T'Challa is an old friend of the Storm family, Sue and Reed are seeking a private audience there. Ben asks if they can come, and Reed tells them that Alicia Masters actually called and asked on a date, which he thinks it's a joke. So Reed and Sue are on their way to Wakanda, and this is the new Fantastic car, which is a redesign of a Iron Man had given them some different hypersonic transport, and he was able to convert it into this. So using different technologies and whatever. And the Wakandas have arrived, and they tell them who they are. They give them their codes, and they're gonna go see T'Challa. So Ben worries over what to do with his date, and Johnny, of course, mocks him. And then they're alerted as the alarm goes off and find someone has broken into the Baxter Building. They, of course, confront him, and we get the eyes of the thing that he recognizes who it is. But of course, we have to move on to the next before we get a reveal. So they meet with T'Challa, and he is gonna take them to where the expedition is. He's gonna guide them himself, and then he, of course, changes into his Black Panther costume. Very good pose here. A lot of hatching. Jim Lee is such a hatcher. Um, Scott Williams has to go crazy over this just insane amount of hatching that he has to do. Um, just so much hatching. He does this now even more. I think you can definitely see how his art has changed from what it used to be in X-Men to now, and I think this is a perfect example of what his current style sort of is. Like just all that hatching from the Black Panther here. And so while they're in the jungle here, Reed and Sue have a moment, and then the next morning. So they're now farther than the previous expedition had made it, and Black Panther tells them that he can't guarantee their safety from this moment on like he could before. Reed tells them that he can take care that they can take care of themselves, and something's causing like an abnormal mutation, and even the ingenious plants are changing, and something's causing the cosmic levels of radiation. So definitely something's up. And so we can see here they're kind of being attacked by some dinosaurs here. Reed had noticed here that the trees, of course, were growing, and these very well could be some of the mutated dinosaur-looking lizards. But it is not a dinosaur. It was made to look like a dinosaur, but of course it's further away. It's much smaller, as you can see. Reed was stretched, so from here it looked like a dinosaur, but it was just a matter of perspective. He was closer to us, so that's a pretty cool very cool uh, drawing by Jim Lee. So, so because it's small, T'Challa says that well, that can't be what caused the disappearance of his warriors. Which, of course, then he hears in the background, "You are correct, human," and they're all suddenly attacked by a mysterious um, looking creature. I haven't seen these in years, so it's amazing how much I can remember going through by memory. So there's a small like bomb being thrown, and Sue's able to use her force field with him and Reed. And so his device is locked into the source of the radiation and sees that someone has been a step ahead of us. We can see here that Black Panther also survived that, even though he wasn't in the um, inside the little bubble. So they're gonna go closer, take a look, and it's Wyatt Wingfoot that, if you remember issues 1 through 2, he's an agent of Doctor Doom, and I have those. I've also covered those because I'm trying to cover as much as Jim Lee as possible. So the Black Panther was apparently, even though we saw him, he had not revealed himself to them. So he is having them be quiet. He says they're trying to take that anomaly, and so they're gonna get them, but they've set up a trap. Now they are um, being taken, and you can see it's closing around them, and then it electrocutes them. So, and they knew about them all along, and Wyatt here sees that they've been neutralized, and he has them uh, brought on board so they can leave. Very good panel right here. I think this is spectacular, and it's very funny that we've seen Jim Lee draw some really cool stuff. I mean, really, really, really cool stuff. And this is as impressive as anything else he has done. Just how clear and concise. A very simple panel with, of course, a full moon here. And so the next day, the three wake up and they hear a voice and they know who it is. And a great splash page here, a great panel with Doctor Doom. So we are going to continue this story. And again, we're not doing all 12 issues. I'm only interested in the Jim Lee portion. So once number 6 goes out, then that's as much as it as I'm going to cover, because that's really all I care about is the Jim Lee portion of it. So Fantastic Four, Volume 2, number 4. Thanks for listening.